and good to have you with us in this edition of the Urban Debate, where we continue with our relentless coverage on India's vaccine policy and the subsequent major rejig that we saw yesterday. Now, a day after releasing a revamped vaccination policy, the centre today gave us some more details about how it's going to function. And largely, it's the part about the private hospitals that has become a talking point. The 25% quota that's still available to the private hospitals, where they will procure the vaccines at a higher cost and be able to charge that to people. So whoever doesn't want to go to a government center where you get free vaccines can go to these private hospitals. Now, what is it that the government is telling us? That the manufacturers will declare the price for private hospitals. That's essentially what has happened so far for the past 1 month as well. The government tells us that the states will monitor the prices of the vaccines being administered in private hospitals. So it cannot be that there is any random exaggerated price that is being sought by these hospitals. But even on the supply side, there is an interesting set of details that has come in. The states will aggregate what is the demand for private hospitals in their states. The government, state government, will make this list of big hospitals and small hospitals and who will be given how many vaccine doses, and they will give this list to the central government. And then the central government will facilitate the supply to the private hospitals, who will then make a payment via a central portal. So one aspect, of course, is the debate that continues that even the opposition parties have raised about why should there be a 25% separate quota for private hospitals where people have to pay money. Why should it not be free for all? The second aspect is also the system where the control over allocation largely is still with the governments. The states will decide which of the hospitals, the big ones, small ones, make the list, share it with the central government, and the central government will facilitate the supply. And then the third big aspect is the 150 rupees cap on the service charged by the private hospitals. And some of the hospitals have raised issues. So there are bigger ones who've said, this is fine, we're doing it for the larger good. But there are other hospitals who are claiming that this is not enough. 150 rupees will not be enough for them to make any money, to even cover their costs, especially if they're organizing off-site camps. If they go outside their hospital to residential societies, to corporates and anywhere else where they set up these camps, for those camps, 150 rupees as a cap will not work and will not help them even recover their own cost and expenditure. They've also said that this will go on to impact the quality of services. They may have to rethink their own plans for the vaccination drive, and how much can they really scale up. This is what they're claiming. We'll talk about it in detail. So these are the aspects that I want to talk about. Firstly, the distribution, the pricing, and of course, the overall debate about should vaccines be free for all. Let's say good evening to Dr. Shravan Dasoju, National Spokesperson of the Congress Party, Neha Joshi of the BJP, Dr. Ashish Chaudhary, MD for Akash Healthcare Hospital, joins us this evening. Dr. Bishnu Panigrahi, Group Head for Medical Strategy and Operations with Fortis, is back with us this evening as well. And Dr. Anand Bhan, researcher for Global Health Bioethics and the Health Policy. Dr. Bhan, let me start off with you. The government says that, we need to ensure equitable distribution, which is why the states will have to make a list of private hospitals and the doses needed, then give it to the center, and the center will facilitate these vaccines even for the private sector. To your mind, is this a workable policy, and is it a good one? Because we have spoken a lot about ensuring uniformity and equity in distribution.
Thanks, Tanvi, for having me. Yes, it's an interesting approach. We'll have to wait and see how it works. I mean, one of the challenges certainly is our prior state governments geared up for this kind of an exercise. Will they be able to collect that kind of information, collate it in a way that it can be processed and passed on to the central government? Then there is another process at the central government level to use that data to inform purchasing, to then decide, which hospitals should be getting a certain stock. Make sure that that stock reaches them, and then it is dispensed. So it is a bit of a complex exercise, quite honestly. But again, I think the smaller hospitals have been complaining about the fact that corporate hospitals have been garnering the major chunk of the pie which is available to the private sector. So I guess it is in response to that. On the equity side, I don't think, it is clever to say that this response to the inequity, but doesn't really respond to the equity question, which is still that, if I have access to money, then I can go to the government sector, get it for free. If I have access to technology and money, I could also get it in the private sector. So those with resources still have a higher chance of getting the vaccine. Those without resources have only the government to look up to. And if there are doses available in my local health center, then I might be able to access the vaccine. If there is a shortage, then I'll have to keep waiting till the government sector vaccines become available. So the equity question, to my mind, is not really solved. This more responds to within the private sector, how are they addressing the inequity between the larger players and the smaller players.
Okay, so that's one aspect. Let me also bring in Dr. Shravan Dasoju. Dr. Dasoju, do you agree that when it comes to equitable distribution, there are still some questions here where private hospitals are getting 25% quota, may have a lot more stock which is paid for, whereas states may not have enough as of now?
No, I think, first of all, the 25% quota allocation to the private sector itself is really questionable, because on what basis that 25% of stock is being allocated to private sector hospitals is one. Two, on what cost it is being given. Three, why is that 25% of the people who go to private hospitals have to be penalized is the question. Congress party right from the beginning is demanding a universal free vaccination, which is being done across the world, like in US or in Europe or anywhere in the world. The free vaccination is being given. And why is that in India when so much of money has been collected in the name of fuel prices or taxes or this, I think there is, today we have abundance of money. And why only 35,000 crores of rupees have been allocated, and why that money is not being spent to provide the free vaccination? Why 25% of the vaccination is given to the free the private hospitals is a major question. So as suggested by Dr. Manmohan Singh ji, or as Rahul ji, or Sonia Gandhi ji, I think the government has to accede to the request to provide the free vaccination to all, rather than compelling people to go to private sector hospitals, is what the contention.
Neha Joshi, do you want to respond to that? Why have we left 25%, a large chunk, a quarter of our vaccine quota for the private hospitals?
Thank you, Tanvi. It's interesting that the Congress spokesperson mentioned the suggestions made by Mr. Rahul Gandhi and certain other leaders of his party. These are the same leaders who wanted the procurement of vaccine to be absolutely decentralized and later did a U-turn. So I'm not going to go into that. Addressing the issue here of 25%. See, out of the 23 crore doses of vaccine that have been administered in India till date, which has taken a record time of 141 days. We're the second fastest in terms of vaccinating that huge chunk of a population. Out of these, about 22 plus crores have been free. So the idea is not to give vaccination in the hands of the private sector. The idea is to increase the reach. There are several parts of the country where charitable hospitals, private hospitals may in fact aid in the universal vaccination. And of course, the people who have the ability to pay, centers put, and the various safeguards that have been introduced in this, there's a cap on how much service charge that the private hospitals can charge. There's a cap on how much vaccines can these hospitals be allocated. There's even a formula for how these vaccines are going to be distributed in terms of the smaller hospitals and the larger chains. So really, if you look at the spirit of cooperative federalism that Congress party seems to talk about a lot, this is a win-win situation. The states now decide that this 25% quota, how does it want to distribute it vis-a-vis the private hospital system that exists in their state? They can actually reach the last mile if they effectively use this 25%. So I don't see why the Congress party today or the spokesperson here has a problem with that. The goal here is to vaccinate maximum number of Indians in the shortest possible time. And most of these is going to be done through the government sector, which is absolutely free of cost.
75% will be done by the government center. 25% is where there will be a charge where the vaccine makers begin to
for the private sector to step up. If the need be, 100% is going to be done by the government. So the idea is that every Indian has to be vaccinated.
This is a time-bound thing. I'm sorry, we've already had 6 months into this. So, I mean, if you're still exploring what works, what doesn't is a separate matter. But let me take that back to Mr. Dasoju. Mr. Dasoju, it's 25%. The rest is in your control for free any which ways. Secondly, you get to decide, which hospital gets how much to begin with, big or small. So, wherever you want to target your vaccination, you can as a state go ahead and do that.
So the question is, why this segregation between government and private? At a time when the country is suffering, people are suffering, and then we never know who's going to die. Why are you?
I'll tell you why, sir. Because 70 years hence from independence, our healthcare system still isn't robust enough. Unfortunately, I come from the BJP, I come from the ruling party, but I have the guts to say this on record. That 70 years from independence, 70 plus years from independence, so our healthcare system still isn't robust enough, and we need the private players. The idea is to complement the system. The idea is not for one person or one system to take over the other.
Yes, Mr. Dasoju.
No, if she can hold for a while without interrupting, then it will be better. One is, why are you classifying the vaccination program into government and private, number one. Number two, the 25% of the people who go to the private sector are likely to be also looted in, if in case it's a Covishield, a particular price, a Covaxin, a particular price, and 150 rupees per injection. Why this kind of a commercialization in the vaccination? In this country, we have the history of giving vaccination free for cholera or for typhoid or for malaria. Several occasions, the country, the governments have rescued the people without, taxing them or without costing them. Why at this point of time we are not able to extend the same to the people of this country? Why are you allowing the private people also to make money out of this whole process? What kind of a pricing policy of this vaccination? There is no universal.
And here is the interesting part. The private sector, many of the hospitals seem to suggest they won't even make money at this level of 150 rupees as service charge. Dr. Bishnu Panigrahi, let's address that part. 150 rupees is the service charge cap. Some of the hospitals have raised issue to say, well, at least, we will not be able to do camps outside our hospitals. This barely covers our costs. There is no incentive to step it up further. Just economically and financially speaking, will that be the case? Dr. Panigrahi, can you hear me? Okay, I'm not too sure he is able to hear us. We're going to check that connection and come back to him. Dr. Ashish Chaudhary, good evening to you. If you can hear that question. Okay, both of the doctors at this point of time are not able to hear us. Dr. Ban, let me come back to you, and not on this part because we spoke about this, but on the part of whether private sector should be involved or not, and if we have to involve them because our public healthcare infrastructure isn't strong enough, does it have to be with the people paying for it?
So, the reason to involve the private sector is to have more delivery points. There is a strong private sector. It's there in most parts of India. Unfortunately, over the past many decades, we've allowed the private sector to mushroom, often at the cost of the public sector. That is a story which is a sad story of the dismal attention paid to public health in this country. Now, but the truth is that they are out there and they provide services. It's also true that there is a rural-urban disparity, which is to say that it's more likely for you to find a private hospital in an urban part of India than it is in the rural part of India. You could involve the private sector as was done earlier also in the first phase of the vaccination, but you don't necessarily have to have anyone who's going to these centers pay for vaccines. So you could still make it free. Just use the private sector as delivery points, and if needed, compensate them from it, but from government funds. I think if I am going to have to access vaccination, the ideal situation should be that the beneficiary doesn't need to pay. The government covers the cost. The main reason being this is not ordinary vaccination. This is a vaccination program in response to a pandemic, and this is a public health response, and public health is a major priority which the government as a social sector investment has to take on. And I think that would enable anyone, irrespective of economic capacity, to be able to access vaccines closest to them, whether that be a private facility or a public facility. So that, in my mind, would be the ideal situation. Right now, we do make it more likely for those with resources to be having a bias towards access as compared to someone who doesn't have that kind of financial or technical resources. And I think that certainly is an equity issue. The other issue is, interestingly, what seems to have come through in the guidelines today is that the 75-25% divide is for vaccines from Indian manufacturers. What's not there in the guidance document is what is happening in terms of potential import of other vaccines and what would be the rules for that. Because I looked up the document before our show now, and it seems to only talk about sourcing from Indian manufacturers. So it's a bit unclear to me if these same rules will apply for any sourcing done from foreign manufacturers and many other vaccines which might not be produced in India but are available globally for COVID-19.
For example, if a corporate giant, takes permission and brings in, imports vaccines for their own group and employees of their own
Like
group.
Pfizer.
Yes. Or even Johnson & Johnson, if those vaccines come in, that will perhaps be allowed. And that's not part of the policy details that have come in today. Maybe in the next couple of weeks, those details will emerge. But here is a question.
No,
Since
Tanvi, can I add something there?
Yes.
Tanvi, for now, the rules apply to all vaccines. And since the procurement is centralized, this is the formula that is going to be used for any vaccine that are imported also. The example that you said, like Reliance, I know, has applied to the government for a permission to import 20 lakh doses of Johnson & Johnson for their employees. That permission has still not been granted. So that's still in the works. But for now, all vaccines that are imported will follow the same formula.
So for now, it's just Sputnik, which is what is there in the system. And you're saying that will follow the same formula. Essentially, to make it simple for our viewers to understand, in some ways, 100% is being procured by the center. 75% of it is being given free via the state and the central government machinery, and 25% the private hospitals pay for to get the vaccines, and then they charge additional 150 per dose, and then they vaccinate people at their own centers. So if the problem is that private hospitals charging, why shouldn't the states, Dr. Dasoju, also carry some burden and pay the private hospitals? Let it be free for people.
Why not the government of India pay for it? States certainly will have to shoulder. I'm not denying that states should not shoulder. But what is the problem for the government of India to give the free vaccination for an entire country? Why this classification? You look at one thing. 60 to 70% of the health sector is in the private sector. The hospital, it is 70% of healthcare in the private sector. And you are giving 25% to them. And rest of the, why is that you are compelling people to go and pay in the private hospitals is the question.
No, but you didn't answer me. If there is so much concern that the Congress party has for the people and that people will have to pay, so far the government was putting more burden on you. They have now picked up more 25% of your quota to say, okay, we will bear the cost there. Why can't you bear? If you do want to make it free for everybody, you can. That possibility exists, rather than just making this something that you question the center for.
Tanvi, the question that you are supposed to ask BJP or asking Congress party that why that BJP is vehemently not willing to do the free vaccination. You should ask that question, but you're asking me, number one. Number two, yes, if Narendra Modi and the BJP tells that we are not in a position to do the free vaccination, we don't have will and wish to provide the free vaccination, then the Congress government, the Congress ruled states will do what they have to do. Now, you are sitting on such a huge cash reserves. Almost in the last 7 years, the BJP government has collected in the form of the fuel charges almost about 25 lakh crores. Where is that money gone? Why is that you are not able to help your own population who are suffering? And this is not an ordinary vaccination. This is, as the doctor said just now, that it is against a huge pandemic and people are suffering. And the last one and a half year, there is a serious financial scarcity, economic scarcity in the country and also in the families. Why is that you are compelling people to pay for the vaccination is the question. Is it that Modi is trying to say that India is in a poor situation, government is in a poor situation, that they can't give the free vaccination to the people?
Neha Joshi. Yes, Neha Joshi, before I go to our medical experts.
You know, the sense of entitlement that Congress spokespersons come with never fails to amuse me. You know, he wants to decide what questions you should be asking him. Well, a question that I'm asking you, sir, is why is it that your government in Punjab decided to give 1.41 lakh doses to private hospitals at an inflated cost and allowed them to make huge profits out of that before, there was a whistleblower and it all came out in the media and you had to backtrack? Why is it that the Congress governments in the state want to take absolutely zero responsibility when it comes to the vaccination program? They want to blame the center. Well, the center is taking full responsibility for the vaccination program, no questions asked. But where is this cooperative federalism that you speak of so often when it comes to taking responsibility for states that you are in power in? Those are questions that will be asked of you, and you can't decide which questions to ask, which not to ask.
Neha, I think your WhatsApp university is very effective enough to spread the false campaigns.
Oh, stop it with your personal attacks. We all know what happened. We all know that your government.
Neha, the whole world knows Bharatiya Janata Party's WhatsApp university and its competency.
Okay. May I just come in here for a bit, please? May I just come in here for a bit, please? This is just information that has now been released by the government, and these are the prices that have now been fixed for vaccines. This is extremely important information that I want our viewers to know. So no more random pricing at private hospitals where somebody is charging you 750, 900, 1200, 1500, 1800 rupees for a single dose. Covishield, which the manufacturer has declared the price at 600 rupees per dose for private hospitals, plus GST at 5%, plus the service charge, maximum service charge of 150 rupees, will now can only be charged 780 rupees. That's the price, 780 rupees. That's what you need to know if you're going to go and get a Covishield shot at a private hospital. This is what you need to pay and nothing more. Covaxin, 1,200 bucks is what the Bharat Biotech had fixed for private hospitals. On that GST plus the service charge, 1,410 rupees. That is the maximum price that can be charged by private hospitals or centers if they are giving this vaccine, 1,410. And for Sputnik, similarly, a price that was fixed at 948. Maximum that you can be charged as a citizen who's getting the vaccine is 1,145. These are the prices that have now been fixed by the government. Dr. Panigrahi, good evening to you. Can you hear me?
Good evening. Yes, please.
Yes. So there is much debate also going on about the service charge, and some of the hospitals have raised the issue that this is not going to be then enough for them to even cover their costs, especially for off-site camps or a large-scale vaccination drive. Economically speaking, is this a disincentive?
Tanvi, good evening. First of all, I would like to say that we are not here for this as an economic venture. It is more for the social engagement that we have to do. And this pandemic affects each and every one. If I am healthy and the other person is not healthy, none of us are healthy. So this is a drive that we have to take. And the larger picture is, if you look at it, I think we are getting too much into confusion and trying to blame each other. 75% that the government has done, I think, so vindicates your earlier stand of this, which we have come back to square one, what it was on 16th of January. So I think so that's a good move that has happened. I think it's a course correction. That's very encouraging. And this 25% is an amount that will go to the private sector, and it's a service charge which is there. And we are happy with the government's directives. We will be doing that. In fact, before this thing came also, we were just charging, as far as photos is concerned, we were just charging 200 rupees extra than at what we had bought as a service charge for our logistics. So I think so let's not look at it from the financial point of view or economic point of view. And if you look at now, this is the right time, most opportune time to ramp up a vaccination. And if you look at across the country now, our positivity rate has really dropped. The number of cases, if you look statewise, where 30,000, 40,000 per day, it has come to 9,000, 10,000, and some are much below. And positivity rate in general has come nearly below 5%, which is very important. And so we have to spread the message and look at the larger picture, and say vaccinate, vaccinate, vaccinate. That's the only way now,
Yeah.
in addition to following the COVID appropriate norms.
No, Dr. Panigree, I understand the sentiment and where you're coming from, but let's just also be a little more realistic about it. The fact that the private hospitals are allowed to charge is because the government wants the vaccine makers also to make some money, and also the private hospitals. Otherwise, there was no need. We could have very well ordered everything at 150 rupees per dose from these makers and given it for free to everybody in this country. But that's not happening because the government seems to want a larger participation from private sector and is trying to put some kind of incentive there for the private sector. If everybody was just there for the social aspect of it, we wouldn't have needed to do this.
Can I answer that, Tanvi?
Yes, yes.
It's a very important question you put up. See, let's be fair to the manufacturers. They have invested there. And nothing comes free in life. And if you want to innovate, you want to be the front end as far as technology is concerned, be a first world country, we have to allow the manufacturers, the private sector, the entrepreneurs to innovate and put. So there is some investment there. And if you look at history also, not all vaccines that the manufacturers, the scientists, they work on are successful. Many of them fail. So there's a lot of investment going in. So let's be practical. If you have to grow the industry, any industry.
No, I agree with you. So there is an economic aspect to it, of course.
Yes,
And when it comes to vaccine makers, there is an R&D cost to it, of course.
Yes.
It's not just that, this specific vaccine, the years of research that goes into and R&D that goes into it. But is that the cost that the people need to bear, or is that the cost that the government needs to bear in times of a pandemic? Who helps the vaccine makers recover their costs, or the hospitals? Let me take it across to Dr. Ashish Chaudhary as well. Dr. Ashish Chaudhary, two aspects that I wanted to talk to you about. One was the issue raised about inequity within the private sector, where the bigger hospitals seem to be getting the doses from the vaccine makers, but the smaller ones weren't able to manage it so far. Does the new system address that? Because the states will now decide who gets how much and the center will facilitate it?
Yeah, definitely. Until so far, the private hospitals were trying too hard with the manufacturers. They were able to procure some medication, some vaccines for themselves, and started the drives. But we could see on various platforms that smaller hospitals and nursing homes were trying too hard, but they were not getting hand of any vaccine whatsoever. So definitely this is going to streamline that, and based on the demand by a small nursing home or a bigger hospital or a corporate hospital, it's going to be a uniform distribution. I think that's a welcoming step for all the smaller facilities. In fact, for the bigger hospitals also, until so far, everybody was trying from pillar to post to get some quota of vaccines. So even for the bigger hospitals, a sigh of relief that there has to be a streamlined system so that they can order according to the requirement of a particular facility, how many vaccines they are going to do it per day or per month. They can raise the request, and hopefully government is going to allocate the adequate number of vaccines to a particular facility.
And the second aspect as well, because I read some of the comments made by hospitals to say 150 rupees isn't enough for us. This has now been capped, and MRP kind of a price has been put out by the government now.
So that is a cause of concern from my side, because while we were starting the drives for the vaccination, we were actually going into the detailed costing of each and everything involved in the vaccination drive. So if you go out of the hospital, go to the corporate, organize the corporate camps, RWS, so there is an additional cost of the manpower and the cold chain maintenance and everything. I think 150 rupees would be a difficult task to meet the basic cost. Nobody is here to make profits out of vaccination. It's only to reach out to as many number of people as possible, to take the drive for more than 8 hours, 12 hours a day. I think we have to re-innovate the way we are going to do vaccinations after the price cap. It has to be an in-house, so that the logistic and daily costing of doing the vaccination should come down, so that we are still able to meet up the cost of doing the vaccination drive, and at the same time continue to increase the the reach out to the community so far as possible.
Okay, so that is the interesting takeaway that's coming from here. And Neha, if you would want to come in, and right now this is not about saying that the policy is right or wrong. But as a fallout of capping it, if the private hospitals are not able to go out and hold these camps, which is, largely we're seeing that's what they're doing even right now in residential societies and for corporates as well, then that is a bit that we will lose out.
So Tanvi, the distribution of vaccine amongst the states is going to be based on population, disease burden, the progress of vaccination, and wastage. The government has explicitly stated now on record that it's going to negatively impact the number of vaccines allocated to a particular state. Now, here is a chance for the state really to optimize its resources. Nobody is stopping the state government from making sure that the distribution of vaccine, this 25% quota that is allocated to the private sector. I'll give you an example for my state of Uttarakhand. In a district of Pauri, which is a completely hill district, there are 2 or 3 private charitable hospitals that are doing excellent work in terms of healthcare. Now, the government of Uttarakhand can easily work with these hospitals, even perhaps work out a model where, they provide the vaccines to the private players. There are 10 things that you can do with this if the state government so want. The central government has laid out these guidelines, but if a state wants to make it absolutely free, even in the private centers, the state government still has the liberty to do it. So, when Congress or any other opposition parties who actually have been spreading vaccine hesitancy all this while come up with all these arguments, my question to them, and my only question to them is, when are they going to start talking solutions?
Okay.
The questions that we're discussing here today, Tanvi, are very, very legitimate. And I'm glad that people from the healthcare community are here. We're hearing their concerns, and some of them are very valid concerns. But when are the opposition parties going to start talking solutions?
Okay. Yes, Dr. Dasoju.
Tanvi.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hello.
Yeah,
Tanvi, I think, the BJP spokesperson seemed to forget what has happened. In the last I think it's almost 8 months ago, for the first time, the Congress party has demanded that there must be a universal free vaccination, number one. Number two, it is at the behest of the Supreme Court. Narendra Modi was compelled enough to come
and... So your party is hugely bipolar. They also wanted the procurement to be decentralized.
1 minute, Neha, let him finish. Neha, let him finish, please. Let him finish, yes.
Tells you come up with the solutions, and you're not willing to listen to any of the constructive suggestions from the former Prime Minister, from the opposition party, and then now you're talking about the oppositions have to talk about solutions. When are you prepared to listen? Forget about opposition. Mr. Narendra Modi is unwilling to listen to his own colleagues. If only he was democratic enough, consultative enough, probably this fiasco would have not come to this level.
Okay, but Dr. Dasoju, let me say one thing. You can find 1 minute. Dr. Dasoju, your party can find solace in the fact that they probably did hear you, because you had been raising it along with many other parties, states, experts, journalists, the issue of centralized procurement. The government, by its own admission, says this didn't happen because of Supreme Court, because they had been working on it for 10 days now, 10, 15 days. And the in-principle nod came from the Prime Minister 15 days ago. So, maybe you want to take credit for that. That being said, I don't want to go, I'm sorry. I don't want to go into who's asked for what and what happens in the past. I want to talk about this is the policy now, and how do we see this policy now playing out. And that's the larger conversation. I have one question for our 3 medical experts who are on this panel. Is there any confusion now on whether private hospitals can also be part of the government vaccination scheme or not? They were in the first 3 months, but once the policy was decentralized, then it was only about the 18 to 44 age group or whatever you procure yourself. So now, Dr. Panigrahi, what happens now? Are you solely going to be dependent on what you buy yourself, or is there a state plan as well?
So as of today, if you look at it, they have said that the private hospitals will procure it from the manufacturers, and with whatever service charge has been mentioned, will top it up and do that. If the government decides tomorrow that we will, as it happened from 16th of January, they will give the vaccines to us, and we can vaccinate. We'll vaccinate with whatever little service charge is there. we are willing to do that.
Okay. In fact, Dr. Ban, wouldn't that have been a simpler way to go about it? Vaccine free for all, centrally procured, and bring in as much of private sector as you can for the administration part of it.
Absolutely. I think that would be the ideal situation. That's how it is in most countries of the world. I think India is probably among the very few countries where there is, the need to pay, even if it is for a smaller segment of the population. I think the simpler way out, quite honestly, is use the private sector certainly, but mainly as delivery points and make it free for everyone, so that we don't have this variation where there is this confusion around, how much you need to pay if you need to go to the private sector. The private sector also, if they could just be compensated by the government, and let's just focus on getting as many people vaccinated as possible. I think the government is on board. The health, authorities are on board. Everyone wants more vaccines and vaccination coverage to increase. I think that should be our sole focus, and let cost not be an impediment.
Yeah, so let's focus on getting as many vaccine doses as we can to begin with. I think largely a lot of the policy front has been resolved. There may be a few issues still left or worthy of a debate, but at least we now have a clearer, simpler policy in place. We need the doses now. We administered 5 crore doses in the month of May. We're hoping to do 10 crore doses in the month of June and hoping to significantly ramp up from there on if we want to be anywhere close to the target that the government seems to have set out for itself. Big thank you to all of the panelists who have joined us on this conversation. So the debate on whether or not it should be free for all really continues. But one thing is for sure, had we made it uniform with the government bearing the cost for all, we would have, on a easier manner, brought in more private hospitals to be part of the vaccination drive, to include more locations, more centers, and distribute the vaccine. It now remains to be seen whether the service cap will become a deterrent. We don't know. Some of the hospitals are claiming that, but I would actually wait and watch to see if it actually does become a deterrent for their on-site vaccination drives. It's been a big part of taking the vaccines to the people, at least in the big cities to begin with. We'll have to wait and watch how that plays out. Thank you so much for joining us on this conversation.